Yo, what's happening, people? And welcome back to the Tiki Taka podcast, where you're going to hear hot takes, unbiased opinions, and hopefully have a couple laughs on the way. And we got a lot of good feedback on the episode last week. And me and Michael were just talking about it. You had a couple of your mates say that they were dying. I had a couple of mine saying, yeah, it's the best episode yet.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, people enjoyed it. I
yeah.
enjoyed it as well. It was fun to do.
Yeah.
It's good to get the feedback. I think it's always good. Obviously, we're a small pod, but we got a lot of friends who are similar as us, interested in similar sports, similar opinions. So to put them at odds with each other. And
some of them have been getting onto us this weekend because players they pick performed, or players they didn't pick but we'll touch on that a bit later. Briefly, I just wanted to mention, obviously, football lost one of their icons this week, Man United legend Sir Bobby Charlton. Obviously, he was like quite a bit before our time, but for those who don't know, I'll just give a very brief, like history of kind of who he was and how he became such a legend at Man United. There was in 1958, there was a Munich air disaster where a plane crashed in Munich that was carrying Man United first team players, coaches, staff, and 8 of the first team football players actually passed away in that air crash. But Sir Bobby Charlton was one of the ones who survived. And obviously to come from that, having to like see and deal with your teammates passing away in that fashion. He then went on to win a European trophy at Man United, had success there. He was a World Cup winner, and he was a big supporter of Sir Alex Ferguson when Ferguson came in. And obviously we know how successful he was. So my dad actually said that it was the greatest English player ever. And for my dad to say that about a Man United player, he must have been some player. Obviously, we've only seen clips of it, but yeah, I just wanted to give a quick mention to Sir Bobby, R.I.P. to Sir Bobby. And yeah, we'll get cracking. But just before we start on the actual football this weekend, we'll do a recap of the UFC, which we touched on last week. And I had Khamzat and Islam to win.
Yeah, I had the opposite. Yeah. I had like Kamaru and Volkanovski to win.
But man, it was good to see Chimaev fight again.
It was good to see Chimaev fight again. And to be fair, we called it in the sense of like he was going to come in there and do some things that we've just never seen be done.
I'm going to smash your boy.
Yeah.
I'm going to smash your boy.
So when I was watching the fight, they said a crazy stat, like coming into this fight, Usman had like 98% takedown defense. Like he'd only been taken down like once or something before this fight. And then, comes different level, man. Yeah. Different level, different but for me it's like the mentality first and foremost. Like Chimaev is such a guy on the come up. Like he's so hungry. He wants it all. As you say, I'm gonna smash you. That is his mentality.
Any interview, he's like, I'd fight to make money. He's like, I'm going to fight as many people. He listed like Adesanya, Strickland, loads of names, Covington, Edwards, all of them. He was like, I'll fight all of them if I get money, if I get paid.
If the money's there, and if the claim is there, if you're a good fighter, you have some pedigree to your name, like Chimaev will be there, no matter the weight class.
Yeah. And he should have that fight with Strickland now.
Yeah, well, I think it has to happen in it. I think that's what Dana was alluding to it before the fight. Like whoever wins this fight gets the title fight. And Chimaev, the things he's gonna do to Strickland, like he's
but we said this when Strickland fought Adesanya.
Yeah, but as I
nobody thought Strickland would win that.
No, Adesanya underestimated him. That's for sure.
And Strickland looked good in that fight.
But this
Chimaev's a different.
This is a guy. It's not. It's just the fact that it doesn't even really matter who it is.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that this is going to be his first title fight. Yeah. As we say, all the acclaim, the money only goes up when you're the champ. Yeah. It's everything that you've been. It's the only reason you really joined the UFC.
Yeah. When he started training, because I think I started watching obviously some of the embedded vlog stuff, and he was saying that like he lived in a gym for 3 years in a small room in a gym. I think he did a bit of boxing and then kind of turned to MMA. Yeah. And just kind of realized like, yeah, I'm actually quite good at this. He said when his manager told him that the UFC called, he was like, "No, don't joke with me." And that is like, that's why all of these guys, like a lot of people have their feelings towards Dana White and they think what they think of Dana White, positive or negative. Yeah. But these UFC fighters, they all love him.
They got too much respect for
Khabib.
him.
Whenever Khabib talks about Dana White, it's like this guy gave me everything.
So on this, I think there's so many reasons for that. Well, there's a couple reasons for that. One, Dana pulls you out from a small room where you're just beating up guys or you're getting in bar fights for nothing, and he gives you like a platform, a name
on the big stage,
hundreds of thousands, and says, "Go out there, do your thing."
So, but also the main event,
was
even more. I did
crazy.
not think that would be finished in round one for sure.
For sure, no one would have had Islam to win by knockout round one.
Yeah,
that's a crazy bet.
And
I was even saying it's going to go the distance. Volkanovski's going to be more.
And he started off with like his takedown defense. You could tell he was a lot better than
worked on
in the last fight. But this I messaged you. I was like, there's something about a leg kick in slow mo that just looks so crazy.
It's so crazy. The body mechanics.
Yeah. And then I showed my brother afterwards the knockout and the way Volk kind of stumbles and falls.
I was gonna say,
and then Islam's just hammering. And my brother was watching it and he's like, why is the ref not stopping it? He was like, he's unleashed like another 10 shots.
I was going to say,
just undefended.
From the head kick alone, Volk was out.
Yeah.
Like he was out on his feet.
Yeah.
You know, you could see it in his eyes. His eyes just like glazed over. He didn't know where he didn't know where he was.
I was trying to tell my brother, I was like, they're used to this. Like the ref, it's a championship fight. The ref but the more I watched it, the more I was like, damn, he's actually thrown a lot of.
I think for me I think that's always for me the most interesting thing about the UFC or fighting in general is like the mentality of a fighter. You know, like Volk Islam in that moment is like, this job's not done.
Yeah.
You know, anybody else, I think you're thinking.
It's like the Charles Oliveira thing when he striked him and he realized,
he's like,
this guy's, I can get him out of here, and then it's just done.
You have to like, as soon as you like, it's not even blood on the water because that's too late.
Yeah.
As soon as it's like.
You just see. Yeah.
There's an inception of the idea. You have to execute on it and get him out of there.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
But shout out to Islam, shout out to UFC, shout out to Dana because it was a great card. Big up to Volkanovski as well, taking that fight on short notice.
Volkanovski and Usman, I wanted to big them both up.
Yeah.
Like you say, 10 days notice. They came in both fighting probably the two best guys in their respective divisions. And so big up to them. Any fight like trying to make weight and do all of that stuff in 10 days, no training camp.
It's crazy.
And to jump in there with the guys they jumped in with, like fair play to them, man. But what was a good card. Obviously we gave our prediction, spoke a bit last week, so just wanted to recap that. But getting into the football now. And starting with Saturday lunchtime, never back the early kickoff.
Yeah.
I changed my FPL captain at 5 minutes before the deadline.
I just pussied out.
I had it on Salah the whole week, and I was like, I had this vision of Mikalenko locking him up.
That's crazy. The only reason I changed it from Salah.
Yeah, you know, and your thing about don't back the early kickoff, the fact there's a derby.
But you know what?
Brighton haven't kept a clean sheet.
But the margins are so small because
that second goal killed me.
It's exactly
that second goal.
Exactly. You take it if Salah only scores one goal in the derby.
And the thing is, I look at it and I'm like, I made the right decision to captain Haaland because Salah scored a pen and the counter attack. And like, it so easily could have been a blank.
In the 94th minute.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So on the game.
Yeah,
on the game, I just think that I don't know if the ref ruined it. I'm not gonna say that. Ashley Young shouldn't have made those challenges.
Konate definitely should have been sent off.
Konate definitely should have been gone. Ashley Young shouldn't have made those challenges, but like 11 versus 11 Liverpool Everton is an easy win for Liverpool. More often than not, especially at home.
Everton were playing well.
But Everton were playing well and they were in the game.
Yeah.
And then you get to the point where Ashley Young goes off, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is.
I could tell that was coming though, because Diaz was just.
He was ripping him in it. Yeah, he was ripping.
It was just every time.
But I expect more from Ashley. Like the commentators were bigging him up, talking about vets, 20 years, this and that.
Yeah, and it was such a silly challenge.
So stupid, obviously Diaz is ripping him, but like as soon as Ashley gets the yellow, you think, all right, man. If any club needs you right now, it's Everton. Yeah. They need a level head.
They need your experience.
Exactly. And then to see him like get beat, that's just for me. The second one is just ego.
Yeah, it is.
It's just full on.
He's had enough of Diaz, just kind of going at him for 45 minutes non-stop. And he's just thought, I'm just gonna do you.
It's just ego. Like
he's trying to go ball and man, and just
But like, yeah, I don't know, man. There's nowhere to hide for him under Sean Dyche. Like, I know what Sean Dyche tells him, but
and obviously ex-Man United player going to Anfield, you should kind of know, man.
Come on.
Obviously, and now you're playing for Everton in a derby. You've been there, you've done that. You know what the atmosphere is like. You expect more. That's probably why Sean Dyche put you in.
Literally,
to kind of.
That's why the commentators are picking you up. You're there. This club needs you. All your years of experience. Such a consummate professional. 20 years in the game. He's kept himself fit and healthy. But it doesn't matter if you keep yourself fit and healthy if you're getting sent off after 30 minutes.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and obviously that's tough for Everton. After they performed fairly well, they defended well, and obviously could have been 10v10.
I think Everton can actually take like a couple positives.
They can for sure.
Because even when it was 11 versus 10, like they was not in the game, but they weren't leaking chances or leaking.
Yeah. They were set up well. They were having some threat on the counter attack with Calvert-Lewin.
Ducour was running around there like crazy.
Yeah. And on, James Garner's put in a couple good performances
he has
in a row
for sure.
But on Liverpool, I want to mainly talk about Liverpool here because obviously they're I think a third now. Still the only loss came in that Tottenham game. And they just keep ticking over, man.
Yeah, they get it done somehow. I feel like and I guess we'll talk about this more with an Arsenal perspective, but like. Yeah, Liverpool just get it done somehow. But I think they're definitely playing.
It's the gunslingers they have up top.
Yeah, I think they have an opposite to us where like, and this is not to make it, but like, yeah, we have defensive solidarity, but we don't really create chances up top. I feel like Liverpool create hella chances, but always let one or two in or let something in at the end.
The thing I find fascinating about Liverpool is that they don't, for me, when I watch them play, I don't think they create chances in like a conventional way that like you would see like teams. When you say creating chances, you think, oh, maybe Man City playing through the lines and then getting out wide cutbacks, whatever. When I watch Liverpool play, they're just kind of creating chances from like chaos.
Yeah, they thrive off that.
Yeah, something happened. Diaz beating a couple players.
But Liverpool, I think they might be like the best team in. Okay, I don't know. They might be one of the best teams in transition. Like I feel like every time I watch Liverpool play.
Like that second goal, I know Everton have thrown players forward, but it's
crazy.
Darwin's gone the leg for the pitch and he's picked the perfect pass.
And obviously Salah is still running at that 94th minute.
So Bozlai's making a decoy run.
But every time I watch Liverpool play, it's just like they have 4 or 5 good counter-attacking opportunities, and it's like, and you see Salah on the ball, or you see Elliott or Diaz. And you're like, and the runners off them, and you're like, okay.
When the opposition have a corner and the ball breaks, and I'm just seeing on my TV screen 6 Liverpool players just flood towards the other end of the pitch. It's just screaming problems to me.
I also, though, I feel like Liverpool played a new midfield today, but we didn't really get to see what that would look like versus a competitive midfield because Ashley Young got sent off.
Yeah, Gravenberch played well.
Well. I think all of them played well individually. But I need to see the test versus another 3-man midfield that isn't.
I think they got Man City 2 weeks.
Is it?
So it's 3 weeks maybe.
But they as you say, like they just keep taking over. They just keep getting the W's. They just keep getting the wins.
Yeah.
They, it's always somebody. Salah again. Again. Always, he's been on the score sheet.
Brace last week, brace this week.
He's been on the score sheet or assisted, I think, literally in every game this season. I
think it's 13 games in a row he scored or assisted these games.
Yeah. It just is what it is with him. Yeah. He just does it. So shout out to him. Shout out to Jurgen Klopp as well. That the Konate situation, I think, is the create. I think that one
took him off straight.
That one was it was egregious in my mind just because you didn't give Ashley Young that courtesy.
Yeah. Exactly.
And like it was early in the game, and you could have used the whole "it's a big game, I'm not going to ruin the game" excuse, but no, you ruined the game, and now you have a chance to like even things up.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, I did say on the pod after the Liverpool Tottenham thing that Liverpool were going to get a decision.
Yeah.
That's just how they were going to get a decision where, as the PGM world, we're just going to look the other way.
Yeah.
And maybe that's that.
Yeah. Because it was like you say, if Ashley Young's gone for it, Konate has to go, and Sean Dyche was going mental.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Fair play, man. But Liverpool picked up 3 points. They're going well. Be a big test for them when they have to go to the Etihad, and that'll be a good game to see where both teams are at. Almost see if City are just going to kind of keep doing what they're doing, or if Liverpool have like how far they've actually come from last year. But moving on to the next game. the Gary O'Neill derby.
Oh,
He went back to Bournemouth with Wolves, and they won in like the last couple of minutes. I actually caught the second half of this game.
is it? That's a good game to tune into.
Yeah. Because I was watching Man City at first, and then they went 2-0 up, and I was like, yeah,
this is done.
Forget this.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Bournemouth, man. How many times on this podcast are we going to sit here and say they caused their own problems? Firstly, the red card is so stupid.
It's so crazy.
Hwang's just got exactly what he wanted. Like, he's gonna try to get a reaction. He's got one. He's got you sent off.
And Cook has just
and after that, it's 1-1. The last couple of you're down to 10 men. Why is the goalkeeper taking a quick goal kick, passing it 5 yards to Billing?
I was gonna say,
turn 3 men on him.
The worst thing about that goal is, like, Bournemouth are so clearly not structured and ready for the set piece. Why is he gone early?
You're down to 10. Why? You're Bournemouth. You don't need to win this game.
Billing isn't even looking. Billing doesn't see the ball. Both the centre backs have their back to goal. Yeah. And then, I mean, it's a calamity. I can't really blame Billing too much, but it is a calamity from Billing. Just
the way
he looks,
he shouldn't even get the ball.
The way he looks, how he falls over.
Comical.
The way he looks as he falls
so
over.
Unorthodox.
6'3", his legs are
kick the ball.
His legs are everywhere. Over. And then you just see the yellow shirts of Wolves. 2 passes and it's done. And to be fair to Hwang, it's quality. It's a quality chip.
Great pass.
It's a quality ball through. You have to, in the Premier League, you should be buried for those mistakes. 100%. And that's, that is the level.
Even the first goal was a good move. Pedro Neto comes inside.
Yeah, true.
I don't know if you saw Gary O'Neill on
MNF. I've only seen a couple of the clips. I haven't watched the full thing.
But there was one clip which was brilliant when he talks about the training. And they actually provided Sky with the camera footage from the training
talking
ground.
About pissing on your team's grave. Like, get down.
That's Sky as well, isn't it? Yeah, we'll get you on after the Bournemouth game.
Damn.
But he basically, for those who obviously kind of missed it, he basically highlighted in training this diagonal box from basically the left back over to the right winger and kind of the striker, and highlighted that they could get a 4v3 in that situation. For anyone interested, I recommend go and find the clip on Twitter, because it's
great content.
I can't do it justice just trying to explain it here, but he's basically points out that the way Bournemouth press, if Wolves players move in certain positions at certain times, they're going to create an overload and then they get out. And that's where the first goal comes from.
Yeah, quite literally.
And to see the actual training footage and then see them score a goal like that in the match was pretty cool. But it also made me think, because Gary O'Neill mentioned this as well, he's like, in the first half, Bournemouth set up with a double pivot, which Wolves hadn't trained
anticipated,
for. Obviously, international break. So they spent 2 weeks training this. And Gary O'Neill was like, the players they haven't seen that picture in training or anything. And so it made me think about the Arsenal game and probably what Mikel Arteta was showing the Arsenal players about Chelsea, and then Poch goes with like a 4-2 with Cole Palmer and Gallagher. And the players haven't seen that. But it says a lot about football, innit? That you imagine telling Roy Keane the players haven't seen this picture in the build-up. Roy Keane would be like, so?
Yeah.
It's a game of football. It doesn't change that much.
I was literally just about to say it. It literally shows how dominant systems are now, and how this whole Pep's 5-a-side idea of the pitch,
how the players can't really react now. They've been coached to do that, and if they don't see that, it's problems.
It's such an interesting change from that football as we know it, in the sense of guys go out there, you have quality players, and they try and make the difference, triple pass somebody, beat a man, type of thing. And obviously there is still that element in the game, but a lot of it now is hug this touchline because I need you to create the space for this guy in the middle who's gonna do X, Y, and Z. And I think the
crazy thing is that if players haven't, and again we saw this because we'll get onto Arsenal, but that was one of the worst performances I've seen in a long time from Arsenal. It shows that the players, if they're not seeing what they're seeing
in training
from the training pictures and what they've done and stuff, they find it hard to react, man.
Yeah, it's an interesting. You hear the term system player a lot more in football these days, and it's tough now to define like who is a system player, who isn't a system player. Your team system can change year on year. So like, what does that mean?
Systems have definitely like in I don't know maybe last 2-3 years started to override like individual talent.
But what I will say to give systems its benefit and its credit is like, systems can actually boost a player's career and confidence. And like, there's certain players who've worked in certain systems who it's like, you wouldn't have got this out of you wouldn't have got this out of this player in any other system.
Yeah.
Like a manager, and I feel like that's why managers deserve a lot of credit. Like, you've actually found a way. And this is like, I remember Arteta in one of these post-match conferences was talking about like, they always ask him the Ivan Toney thing. You're going to get Toney, big man, da-da-da-da. It's like, it's not about Ivan Toney. It's not about having one number 9 that scores this type of goal or, is this type of person. It's about how this piece fits in with all the other pieces on the football pitch. Yeah. And like, I can't just focus on attack and be like, all right, well, I have these 3 players, my attack is sorted.
Because each game's going to be different.
Each game's going to be different. The system, I have to build up the ball from the back to get it towards the attack. How's that going to work? How are those pieces going to mesh with,
Yeah.
And I think there is such a total view now, rather than maybe like, I'm going to have one star man and, feed a team through him. Yeah. It's not like,
It's so complicated now. And again, Gary O'Neill touched on this yesterday. He was like, the Premier League is like so good to be like having that challenge, and because and he said this happened in the Bournemouth game, if what you've worked on your players don't then see in the pitch because the opposition does something different, they basically try and press Bournemouth for Bournemouth's first goal in the way that they've trained on the training pitch, but they get caught out because one person's too late and Bournemouth have gone with a double pivot and they're off it, and then Bournemouth go and score, and he's like, that's the Premier League. Like, even Bournemouth, who might be lower end of the Premier League, they have the capacity
for sure.
And as a manager, you just have to learn quickly. And then at half time, he's gone in and he's gone like, look, this is how they're playing, changed it. Probably similar to what Arteta did.
I think as well on the game and the narrative, I think big ups to Gary O'Neill, just because he did get sacked from Bournemouth for an unjustified reason, you could maybe say. Yeah. So it was a grudge match coming into the game. It's just 6 points at the bottom of the table. He's won, and now Wolves have like 11 or 12 points. Comfortable sort of mid-table or bottom end of the mid-table,
and they're playing good stuff as well.
But they, Gary O'Neill's Bournemouth were playing good stuff. When he took over, and those last couple of weeks of the season. So I think he's shown himself to be a really good manager. I think he's shown himself to be able to get guys to play good stuff, and I think that will bode well. And I actually kind of like him for the double fingers that he's shown to Bournemouth and everybody else in the league, and just like, I'm at this level, like I'm a manager at this level, and this new guy Areola, he's in trouble, man.
Well, a lot of rumors he's going to be the first manager sacking, but as we're doing this podcast on a Tuesday, 24th of October, still no manager sacked. Almost 10 games in.
But it's coming. It's coming. 2 weeks. I give you 2 weeks. Like, if Bournemouth don't win a game in 2 weeks' time, if Sheffield don't win a game in 2 weeks' time, Sheffield, maybe I can hear the whole like they've just accepted. He's going to be here next season, as you said. But Bournemouth didn't get rid of Gary O'Neill to bring in a new guy to play tiki-taka football and stuff. To
go down.
Yeah.
Because look at what Gary O'Neill's doing. Like, if Bournemouth go down, that's going to be a big,
whoever made that decision in the, you have to like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But, like, big ups to Gary O'Neill, went back there and won. Moving on, Brentford played Burnley. And again, like, I don't know if it's just like there's a real lack of quality in the Premier League this year, but
oh my gosh,
we're watching. We've got the Arsenal game on in the background.
I apologize for any deviating
And Martinelli just went through, but Brentford beat Burnley, and this just seems to be a real lack of quality in some of the teams in the Premier League this year, because Burnley again causing their own problems.
Yeah,
like, okay, fair enough, and Mbeumo, great goal. Godos, great goal. Two great goals. Not really two, but the way that Burnley just give them with the ball, give them opportunities. They're losing it on the halfway line, and all of a sudden the opposition is 4v2.
Yeah.
Like you just can't. But
that is, unfortunately, that is coaching. That is like, you're not drilling into your players where they need to be if the worst comes to the worst.
Yeah.
Week on week, like 1 or 2 weeks, it can be an individual player, just not following the team. But like, if every week you're not putting that many men forward, but you also somehow always seem to be light,
so open,
light at the back.
They turn the ball over, and honestly, it's maybe 2 passes before a clear cut.
Straight through.
The first goal, they turn the ball over. Mope plays Mbeumo, and Mbeumo plays Wissa, goal.
Yeah. And I mean, the warning signs are. It's like the problem with Burnley is like they can concede any. They're not. It's not like at least they're defensively good from set pieces and they don't really give up. They can concede from set pieces. They can they can concede from transition. They can concede from open play, even from a deep block. 10 men behind the ball. There is that lapse in concentration that is so prevalent. And then obviously getting men sent off and like. At the very, very, very least, if you know you're going to be fighting at the bottom of the table, you need to keep all your games 11 versus 11.
Again, a stupid tackle. Again,
silly. At the very, very least, if you're going to be fighting at the bottom of the table, you need to keep 11 versus 11 to have any hope of staying up. Because if you're like struggling to work out if you have the quality 11 versus 11, you definitely don't have the quality 10 versus 11. So I just don't. I don't have too much to say. And like Brentford, to be fair to them, good game. Happy they bounced back. Showing that it shows that like with the level from the old teams coming up, and these new 3 sets of teams coming up, because like Brentford are, people had a lot of question marks over them. People had a lot of question marks over their form. They lost like however many of the last games coming into this, barely kept a clean sheet. And so this could have been a game Burnley could have looked at and said, we can do something here. Yeah. And now for Brentford to come out as 3-0 winners and comfortable routes, it just...
And Mbeumo was dictating the game, assist.
Yeah, his goal was crazy.
Crazy goal.
It was good play all round.
Top bins, yeah. But yeah, man, like, I was going to ask you how, obviously 9 games into the season, when, if ever, does Vincent Kompany compromise in his philosophy?
Who do Burnley have next weekend?
Style?
Let me find out. They have Bournemouth.
And then they've got us at the Emirates.
They've got Bournemouth away and then us.
We just spoke about Bournemouth as well and their manager.
Yeah, that's a 9-pointer. Yeah. That's a good
big game. Big game.
That is a 9-pointer because whoever loses that, I think Kompany's in a little bit less trouble than the new guy at Bournemouth.
If Bournemouth don't win that, I reckon he's sacked.
Yeah.
If he isn't sacked before then.
If Burnley get a win, because Bournemouth are at home.
Yeah,
exactly. If Burnley get a win at Bournemouth's place and you're not picking up 3 points of, Burnley at home or a point of Burnley at home, you're not going anywhere. Yeah. You're not going anywhere. And like, it's
crunch time.
Squeaky bum time for Bournemouth for sure. But
9 games into the season.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But, you got to start. Still haven't got their first win. Got to start getting points on the board. But yeah, moving on from that game, Man City played Brighton. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, they went 2-0 up. The Doku show, match of the day, did a whole thing on him. Just James Milner slept well that night. Saturday night, James Milner got into bed and just fell asleep.
I think in hindsight,
and fair play to Milner, man.
Yeah, exactly.
38, 39. You're coming up against Doku at the Etihad, isolating 1v1 constantly.
No help from your winger.
Yeah,
it's never. But I was gonna say, in hindsight, of course, the Zerbi had to hook him. But in hindsight, maybe that wasn't. Maybe he didn't think Doku was starting. Maybe he thought it was going to be Grealish. And that's why Milner was in the team.
Maybe,
because if you had an inkling that Doku was starting that game, Veltman has to get in there immediately.
And even Veltman's getting twisted.
Exactly. Yeah. Milner he didn't know whether to like stick or twist, come short or drop deep. Yeah. Doku was taking a couple of touches and doing this like back heel thing that he does where he just, turns and he's gone. Yeah. And I think as well, to be fair, the way I looked at this game and I watched the full game was like, City came out early, put pressure on them, got the 2 goals, Alvarez, Haaland, and I thought, it's going to be a rout. Yeah. Like, this is just going to end up 4 or 5. I thought, my captain's a safe bet. When Haaland got one in the early first half, I thought, well.
From outside the box.
Yeah, I thought there's a penalty to come. And, but I actually want to give I want to give Brighton a lot of credit because they stayed in the game. The time went on, it got to the 70th minute, 80th minute, and I was like, hey, look, it's only still
They had chances as
2-0, and they had chances.
Pascal Gross, I think, had one.
Brighton, I mean, we spoke about this in the pod about how De Zerbi is just like, I play my football, you know. So I did have a lot of respect because this is still Man City. This is still Man City away from home. You know, it's not his strongest team. He's still got a couple injuries and stuff, and he's still out here like, all right, you know, I'm gonna play through the lines. I'm gonna press. You know,
same thing. No matter who we play, it's gonna be the same style.
Welbeck came off early. Milner came off. There was somebody else that came off, and it was like, surely that you had to adapt the game plan a little bit, but it's still core principles are the exact same thing. And to only lose 2-1 at the Etihad.
Yeah. There was only one man that I've seen rip Kyle Walker in God knows how long, but Mitoma, I might have just been that one clip.
Yeah,
but,
for real.
Yo, he kind of skinned him there.
Mitoma is a really unique guy, man. Because he doesn't even really do too many step overs or drag backs or heel flicks, but
it's so fluid.
Exactly. It's
so clean. To watch.
Sometimes you don't know what his next step is going to be, and even when you do know it isn't always how you think it's gonna. You
don't know which way he's gonna go. He stopped Walker, then went again.
So I don't really have too many concerns about Brighton. I think they're gonna be some of the big teams. They're gonna lose to some of the games by 4 or 5, but they'll probably end up 5th or 6th. You know, maybe not 5th, but they'll probably
I'm not sure because, and obviously we'll get onto some of these teams, but Newcastle looking very good, Villa looking very good.
Yeah, they do.
I think at the moment,
Villa's home form.
Yeah, I think both those teams are looking better than Brighton at the minute.
They do look better than Brighton at the minute. And I think you also forget that Haaland isn't just a penalty box striker.
Yeah. He can score outside the box.
At Dortmund, he did used to rip him a couple from outside the box.
And it's the way City play. He only needs to be in the box, especially when KDB's there.
There's no way, with all the players that they have, there's no way Pep is looking at Haaland saying drop deep. Mingling with
But a point, Akanji got sent off. So he's going to miss the Manchester derby. I think not that asking it because Pep will just go Walker, Diaz, Stones, Ake. Long day.
I'm also surprised that he's still playing Guardiola left back.
Guardiola played well, man.
He did play well. Yeah. He did play well. But I'm like, I thought this was an £88 million centre back to sit right there with Diaz. You know.
Well, he's got too many.
He's got Stones. He's got I do hear it.
Stones came back in. I don't think Diaz actually played. I think it was Stones and Akanji.
Yeah, it was Stones, and then he brought Ake on as well at the end.
But yeah, Manchester derby this weekend should be good. One question I wanted to ask you is Julian Alvarez the second best striker in the league?
Yeah, we need to go. Yeah, for sure we need to come on to him.
So assuming Erling Haaland
is the best,
unanimously the best, is Julian Alvarez the second best in the league?
Yeah, but I
think I told you this last year, so I think you know where I stand. If Arsenal had Julian Alvarez in the Arsenal team last year, I think we could have won the league.
Yeah, because he
can just same thing again this year.
He could just give you guaranteed like 15, 16, 17 goals. But the only reason I'm hesitant is because of how he is a striker, but City are using him as this as a 9-10 hybrid thing. But he might have not a similar record to Salah, but he's been super consistent.
Yeah.
Since not even just this season, but since he's come to the club.
Minutes per goal, minutes per assist.
Must be nuts.
Yeah.
And also some of his finishes, like today or yesterday on the weekend, it wasn't like the greatest finish ever, but some of his finishes are like, wow, either foot. You know, I'm just gonna.
When he scored against Fulham last year. There
was the one not in this Champions League game, but the last Champions League game.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
he's scoring free kicks.
He does it all.
I think even when KDB's back,
it's a super problem.
And Pep's already doing that thing in interviews. He should be back soon.
KDB was at the UFC.
But even when KDB's back, I think Pep's going to find a way for Alvarez to get in this team, whether that's on the right, whether that's maybe KDB plays a bit deeper, Rodri, whatever it is. I think Alvarez is going to stay in this team.
It's the G and the A's. It's not just one or the other. It's the G and the A's that he brings to this team.
The work rate,
the youthful energy. He's a proper player, man. Yeah. One of my friends, I need to shout him out, Alan, Argentinian himself, was talking to me about Alvarez like 2 years ago. And obviously I'm just like, he plays for River. Yeah, he plays,
River player.
Yeah, he plays for River player. I was like,
shouldn't get that one.
I was like, he looks nice from the YouTube comps, but who gives a fuck about guys from he's come to Man City and he's balled out.
Well, you even said it a couple of weeks. Pep always finds that gives Gabriel Jesus before that. This is the guy that's going to replace Aguero. Now it's Julian Alvarez.
But they hit the ground running. Pep makes sure that these South American guys hit the ground running. There's no like, he needs to settle and adapt and da-da-da-da. It's like, 4-2.
Straight away, come in, get it done. But yeah, moving on from that, obviously City won again. They went top after that game. Obviously, I think they're second now because Spurs won yesterday. But Newcastle played Palace. There's not too much to say on Palace. All I'm going to say is just a bad day at the office for Palace.
I think they're missing too many players, man.
Yeah, I think I said this to you. Watching Palace without Eze,
it's pointless, isn't it? It's just
and obviously St James's Park, that kind of thing can happen. So I think that's all we need to say on Palace. But Newcastle deserve some time. They deserve some.
They've climbed up. They've climbed. After the first international break, they were like 15th. Like they'd lost 2 out of the 3.
Yeah. Because they had a hard start. They had that shock loss to Liverpool. Okay. That might have been some poor distribution from David Raya there. But yeah, a lot of people at the start of the season thought Newcastle might fall off a bit. Myself included. I thought, 2 games a week. Maybe they don't have the squad depth. The start they had wasn't great. But wow, man, they're looking good. They're just putting performance after performance.
I didn't actually think Newcastle were going to fall off.
No, I didn't think it'd be big, but I thought they're going to struggle to make Champions League again.
To be fair,
I don't know. They might not make it, but they're going to be there or thereabouts.
They're going to be there or thereabouts, that's for sure. I just like what Eddie Howe's doing with these like not big name players, the Longstaffs and the
Sean Longstaff, man, speak on it.
Yo, it's crazy. One of my guys had Sean Longstaff in FPL. I couldn't believe it. My shout out to my guy Chris, but I was like, who's foreseeing this? Yeah. Who's foreseeing these kind of events? He's getting the best out of Aaron Gordon. I think the thing about Newcastle as well is they kind of have a deep squad, so there is always going to be
Jacob Murphy.
Yeah.
1 goal, 2 assists, could have had more assists.
But he, for example,
he was like on fire yesterday or on Saturday. He was causing Palace. Tyreek Mitchell didn't know what was going on.
But I think that's the best thing about Newcastle. That's the problem Newcastle are going to be is there's always going to be a new hero. Like, it wasn't Almiron this week, but it could be Almiron next week. It could be Aaron Gordon next week. Harvey Barnes is going to come back. It could be Isak. It could be Wilson.
Callum Wilson back.
Longstaff. Willock I've just seen him in training this week for the first time. Yeah. So they have quality who could end up being the man for them. And I think the good thing about a lot of these guys is that they know they're not the Cristiano Ronaldo or whatever, so they don't have any real ego. They're just willing to work.
They work hard.
Play hard.
Sure. And credit Eddie Howe for that.
Exactly. Big time credit for Eddie Howe. And just for putting this run together, these wins together, the clean sheets together. St James's Park it's just a place that you don't really want to go to. You don't really want to. You have to be on your shit to get to get anything.
And on like the stats that have been going around this week, they're like top for goals scored, XG, shots, shot conversion, shots in the box.
Created, they're up there as well.
And yeah, like you say, man, they're tearing teams apart. I can't stress this enough because like last year I saw Arsenal struggle in a lot of games that like I was hoping I'd go to the stadium and just be able to chill out.
Yeah.
And it was just intense, and that's just like that seems to just be Arsenal DNA to just
true.
Like never give the fans any respite.
Want to win the hard way.
Yeah, exactly. But for Newcastle to just be like 4. Yeah. Crystal Palace hold 4, Shef U hold 8, like PSG hold 4. Yeah, like they're just dishing out the goals. Like you have to respect it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty commendable.
Yeah. And like you say, man, we go to St James's in 2
next
weeks.
Week, yeah.
So
it's big.
Gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. But
I said if we go in there still unbeaten,
we had this conversation.
I'll be a very happy guy.
Yeah.
I'll be a very happy boy if we go in there still unbeaten. And we won there last year.
Yeah.
Different game, obviously, this year, but we won there last year.
Big pressure last year.
Huge pressure on us.
I remember in like the first 30 seconds they hit the post.
Yeah.
Kiwior gave away a penalty that got overturned. it was ropes at the beginning. But yeah. We are putting a big performance there last year.
Yeah, Newcastle are now 5th. And they're only gonna climb.
Yeah,
they're only going to climb. So I agree with you that they're going to be there and thereabouts in the Champions League places. And I kind of hope that they get there ahead of the old guys like United, Chelsea, and
they're looking like a much more cohesive, a much better team than those guys. So I think their chances are pretty high at the moment. But we'll move on from that game to Nottingham Forest versus Luton.
This was just poor from Nottingham Forest, man.
Yeah, Forest went 1-0 up. Luton made it 1-1. Forest went 2-1 up. Luton made it 2-2. But the Forest just threw the game away. Yeah,
they threw the game away.
The defending on both the goals, especially the second one,
it's
man.
Just ridiculous.
It's just like, I was having a conversation with my dad, and I was like, watching the highlights on Match of the Day, I was like, you could tell that the Nottingham Forest defenders aren't used to teams saying, yeah, we're just going to knock it long and just have a big man. Nottingham Forest are used to the Premier League teams trying to play in and around.
But they've only been here for a year.
But when you get Elijah Adebayo, who's like, he looks like he's 6'6".
Yeah, he looks.
Yeah, and you're just knocking it long.
The ball, like, it was on his chin. Yeah,
takes it down, buries it, like,
you know.
And fair play to Luton, man. Come back away from home. Never say die attitude. Pick up a valuable point.
A lot of guys mentioned that Luton can stay up just for the vibes. You know, they can do it off the vibes. But if you show that kind of fight, and 100%. All the way to the end, there's that desire, then you actually can pick up, you know, wins. You can pick up points.
I was actually going to ask you, who of the 3 promoted teams, Luton, Burnley, and Shef U, have the best chance of staying up?
You'd have to say Luton, because they can at least show you that they can score goals.
Whereas after 4 or 5 games, we were sat here like, they're gone, they're done.
Yeah.
But now I'm looking at it and I'm like you say, they're the only team of the promoted teams that I think they're showing some character, they're showing some fight, that they actually want to be here. Yeah. And like,
do you think the man?
I think they have the best chance of those teams.
I haven't watched enough, but I wonder if the manager has changed some stuff from the first couple of games. Do you think he's been the one to go early and be like, all right, man, I see this road? Because like Luton, I feel like they barely scored for the first couple of games, and then you know, they've scored versus Everton 2 goals. You know,
I think he's definitely embraced the, let's just knock it long. Yeah. Like, let's not
play to our strengths.
Fuck around with it and try and play. And because then, like, probably, I don't know, 15, 16 teams in the Premier League now try and press you high.
Yeah.
If they think they're better than you, which most of the Premier League teams will think when they play Luton, they'll press you high. So I reckon he's just gone, let's just negate all of that and just knock it long.
And if you have a guy like Adebayo, for sure,
and Carlton Morris,
there's gonna be a Premier League defender who will make a mistake, who misjudge the flight of the ball, think he's got the strength.
Yeah.
And just push him to the side.
That's literally what happened.
Yeah. Just push him to the side.
On Nottingham Forest, I did make a comment a couple of weeks ago, and you did start laughing, but I asked if Man United had made a mistake selling Anthony Elanga. And he picked up 2 assists on the weekend.
He's been balling.
2 great balls in for Chris Wood.
He's been balling.
And I don't know, man. Have United made a mistake? Is he a winger that United could maybe do with right now?
Do you know the problem is, the reason United haven't made a mistake is because Anthony Elanga was never going to be a big name or a household name or like a name that will sell T-shirts. Yeah, and that's what United need. Whether you're good or bad, that's what United need. Yeah. They don't care actually how good you are at football. We need a big guy, 7 on his back, CR7's back, so, you know, the regen, sell T-shirts.
£100 million right winger.
They got complacent. They thought like, we know Anthony. We've had him from the youth academy. You know. So for that reason alone, it's like Anthony could get 10 and 10. And United would still sit with Anthony because he's going to sell T-shirts. And he's, you know, but he would get into the team.
Exactly. You look at it and you would say, obviously Rashford.
He's coming off in the 60th minute these days.
Yeah. Rashford's having a tough time of it, but you would say he's better than Elanga. But Anthony and Sancho,
he's better than the Palestris and the Garnachos. You know,
he's more effective.
Yeah,
for sure.
You know, and so those guys are the guys getting minutes now.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't tell me that he wouldn't. Yeah,
but yeah, big up to him, man. He made the move. He left Man United. He said, "I want game football. Time." And he's doing his thing there, man.
Hey, him and Cho.
Yeah.
He's out.
But moving on from that.
I shout out Chris Wood though, 2 goals.
Yeah, Chris Wood brace
in 1 year's absence.
Yeah. But yeah, moving on to the London derby. The rivalry that I will still say with my chest out that Chelsea fans beg. I really don't think Arsenal care about Chelsea that much, but
nah, you can't say that. We hate them. We don't love them. Okay, we don't love them. And we always love Chelsea's downfall. Always. It's because of there is a little bit of needle. Ashley Cole, Gallas over the years.
Yeah, but like,
there was that time when they were just dogging on us, and then RVD changed.
This is Chelsea's biggest game of the season when they play Arsenal.
Yes, we're probably there.
When the fixture list comes out, we look at it, and depending on
we have bigger games. United, Tottenham,
exactly. Depending on where you should lie as an Arsenal fan, it's either Tottenham or Man United. Yeah, that's the game I want to win.
We have bigger games.
For me personally, it's Tottenham. What about you? When the fixture list comes out, what's the game you look at and say, yeah, I want to win that game?
It's a toss-up.
In any given season, no matter what. Obviously, Arsenal in title race. So
United.
Yeah.
I hate Tottenham. Don't get me wrong. But I have an expectation not to lose that game always.
Yeah.
With the United one, more recently, to be fair, I have the expectation not to lose. But like, it's just the history of them dogging on us when we were younger. I want at least 10 years.
Yeah.
I want at least
just domination.
I want at least
like Liverpool. What Liverpool are doing today.
I want a generation of United fans to look at us afraid. Those Arsenal fans.
But yeah, like, to my point, it's either Tottenham or it's Man United.
Yeah.
But I think all Chelsea fans look at it and say, yeah, let's beat Arsenal.
Yeah.
That is their biggest.
I agree with you on
thing.
that. They try and force their way into.
It's like there's us and Tottenham. Tottenham hate Arsenal. Arsenal hate Tottenham, and Chelsea are just kind of there.
It's just so West London, just gonna beg you. But it's because
go chat to Fulham
and Brentford, and
exactly,
QPR.
But nonetheless, London derby, and a lot to talk about on this game. So we'll start with Chelsea, because I'll be real, bro. 70 minutes into that game, I was sat there watching it, and I was like, damn, we're actually going to record a podcast where Arsenal have lost.
I said that. I said the game's done. I said in the group chat.
I was like, what are we going to say?
I said in the group chat, I was like, by the way, this game, he took off, was it Jesus and Ødegaard? And I was like, oh yeah, by the way, this game's over.
Yeah.
And
just the way Chelsea were keeping the ball, and the like.
We looked like we had nothing.
The body language of the Arsenal players just looked like they'd kind of accepted.
Yeah.
Apart from one man.
Yeah.
Who we
stands up to get counted.
Deckers,
this is not looking good, by the way, for Saka.
But yeah, we'll for looking at Chelsea, I was looking at that and I thought, this is the first real Pochettino performance that I've seen. That's the first time I've watched Chelsea, and I thought, yeah, I can see a Pochettino team in there.
There was a lot of hard work.
Yeah, similar to what he had at Tottenham.
Yeah,
they didn't really give us any time, any space. Obviously, Arsenal being as bad as they were, and we were shocking, and we'll get into our performance. Chelsea capitalized on it.
No, they did. I thought Chelsea were. I was saying before the game, and I was one of those guys who wasn't giving Chelsea enough credit, because I was saying before the game that, like, yeah, this is just going to be, 3-0 by half time. I knew Saka, Jesus, Martinelli was going to start. I thought we were going to blow them out of the water. To be fair, I thought Thomas was going to start. But I thought we had an opportunity to blow them out of the water. But Chelsea, they were on it, man. They were really on it from day one. Thiago Silva was making important blocks. Conor Gallagher was running around like a madman, putting a lot of pressure on a lot of people. The conditions weren't right for us, but I don't really have any excuses. This was like by far the worst 70 minutes I've seen Arsenal put in this season, and for a while, probably. We just had no pattern of play.
Chelsea dominated us for the first 75 minutes.
The ball never stuck to anybody up top. Careless giveaways, just like on the ball for 3 seconds. There's an easy pass, and I'm just going to play it wide of him and out for a throw-in.
Bad first touches.
Yeah,
it was just so sloppy, so sloppy.
I agree that this was like a foundational performance for Pochettino to build off of.
It's like now you set the standard.
But with that though, like they got a penalty, which is a penalty, but ref didn't give it, VAR to intervene, type of thing. Could have gone the other way if And then
Arsenal, people saying Arsenal got lucky with their goals, whatever. Chelsea should have won the game. Maybe
Chelsea should have won the game from the position that they were in.
But you got to think and remember, like you say, Chelsea's goals were a pen and a miss hit cross.
We were bad. We were bad. But we didn't give up chances.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer came close.
We started at 2-0.
Yeah. Cole Palmer came close in the first half. It was whiskers wide, that kind of thing. But like, that is the most notable chance for me that I was like,
Nicholas Jackson had one.
Yeah, Nicholas Jackson had one where I was like, all right, this, But if I was a Chelsea fan, I would definitely feel like it's 2 points lost. There's no 100%. Doubt about that. But I think
I woke up Sunday morning. Buzzing.
Yeah. But I think from an Arsenal perspective, I was just like, we can never play that badly again this season.
We'll get on to that. I think Chelsea deserves a bit more praise. In particular, Thiago Silva.
Yeah, he was big. He was big.
39 years old, Premier League centre-back against title challengers, second or
very
third
tough
best
front
team.
three.
Exactly. And he was big time, man. And respect to him at that age, doing what he's doing.
I don't even think Cole played that well. I think Thiago was.
Yeah, Cole was a bit suspect.
I think Thiago was just like, I'm going to hold everybody's hand back here.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to get through.
Because a lot of Chelsea fans thought that it would be Disasi and Colwell, and eventually Thiago Silva would kind of be phased out. But it shows you there, man. Like,
no, you need him for those
anything
games.
In the box. He was clearing, like playing out from the back. He was composed, getting through the lines. So shout out him and the other person who Bat had him fourth, and he did tell us he wanted an apology on this podcast. But Cole Palmer turned up, and one thing on Cole Palmer is, and I wanted to ask you, is that like how? Because to me it was so clear, so evident. But how obvious is it that he's had a Pep upbringing?
Yeah. His touches, his decision making in certain times.
Like even when you think pressure's building, 2-0 up, got to keep the ball 2-1 even. Like you can tell he's just had that Pep upbringing. He's like,
for sure.
I'll drop deep, I'll take the ball, I'll keep it ticking.
No, for sure. He was probably their best player, to be honest. And when he came off, it kind of changed the game for us in our favor. I think he deserves a lot of credit, Cole Palmer, because he's finding his feet.
Yeah.
And there was no real, up until now, it's like you couldn't say he should be a guaranteed starter. He should 100% get on the team sheet. Deadline day signing, Noni, Mudryk, all of these guys, Sterling, you have to try and get ahead of. But now it's like, penalty should be his.
Yeah, stepped up, took the pen.
Penalty should be his. He should be on the team sheet in either, whether it's in the 10 position, whether it's in the winger position. He was even doing, like, as you say, like a bit of an 8 job in midfield.
Like at times he was coming, he was dropping. But it's like,
these are
I know you can tell that, like, especially with an English player, man. The English players don't
they don't
move,
have
they don't occupy space and control the ball and receive the ball.
But to be fair, that's what you get when you're with David Silva and Bernardo Silva and all of these guys who just like can accept the ball with 2 men on them under pressure. I think you learn and you pick up that know-how. And I think the best thing for Cole Palmer, for sure, and I respect his mentality first and foremost, obviously, to go and tell Pep, like, hey, look, I need minutes. I know you want a treble. I know you want a treble, but I need minutes.
Yeah. On this, and I'm glad you brought it up, because I did actually want to ask you as well. Like, obviously, Man City Academy graduate, the other Man City Academy graduate, Phil Foden, won everything there is to win the game, won the treble. So this isn't me saying anything against Phil Foden. Like, he's a good player and he's won what he's won. You can't dispute that. But I respect Cole Palmer a lot for saying, I'm not happy with like here and there minutes, like just sub minutes, kind of play every 3 games, maybe play the unimportant games. Like, I respect him for saying, no, you know what, I'm gonna go to Chelsea and I'm gonna try and be one of the main guys there, and obviously take a different route to the one Phil Foden did. Not that like one's right, one's wrong, but I respect it, and obviously he's got the trophies in his cabinet. Regardless of how much he played, he won part of the treble.
Yeah, he won him.
And whatever. And now he's gone. Then he's like, yeah, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna be the main man. And what we said at the start of the season, we were like, this is Phil Foden's time to come in. And Mahrez, obviously Gundogan's gone, and be like, yeah, this is my team. I'm gonna. And Phil Foden, in my opinion, has not done that.
Yeah.
But Cole Palmer's gone to Chelsea, and he's already starting to show like, yeah, I'm gonna be the guy in this team.
Yeah, no, I agree, but I think part of what feeds into that was the hype on Phil Foden. Like, Pep came out and said, we're never going to sell him. He's the best. That he was, 15, 16 or however old
better
he was.
Messi or whatever.
All of that kind of stuff. So it was Manchester born and raised. So I think there was just this additional pressure to see him do well at City. But I do respect Cole Palmer a lot, because even the decision to go to Chelsea, it's not like Anthony Elanga going to Nottingham Forest, guaranteed starter. It's like, as I said, there was Noni, Sterling, Mudryk, all of these guys who potentially are ahead of you in the pecking order, and you literally have to fight for your place. and he's done it, and he showed that he's better than a lot of them right now, and he's holding it down. So I think it can only bode well for his career because he has the Pep upbringing. Now, if he does get minutes, by the time he's 25, 26, whatever it is, with 100, 200 games underneath him and the experience of Pep and David Silva and Bernardo Silva and all of this, they could legitimately be a very, very, very good player there.
Yeah.
And for Foden will always be a very good player, but I think you're right. As long as Pep is there and as long as Pep's doing rotations, there's always going to be this question marks of, is he a, is he a star? Whereas I think Cole Palmer's that, fuck these aspersions, the concern, I'm here to play football.
He's kind of just gone and said, you know what, I'm just going to go to another club and I'm going to be that guy.
And Chelsea can actually build around him.
Yeah, 100%, because he's got the talent. He's obviously got the quality. All those years with Pep, like we said, you can obviously see that. So yeah, a good performance from Chelsea. Probably, I think a lot of Chelsea fans saying their best performance of the season.
But don't you think
our worst performance of the season?
It fits into the theme, though. They said, Arteta was saying before the game that Chelsea have been unlucky with some of their results. That is their best performance of the season. This is our worst performance of the season. Like the difference now. What is it? Doesn't it show that the levels of the two clubs?
It does for sure. Because I was talking to a Chelsea fan, and I was saying, and he was almost saying that they bottled it and whatever. And yeah, you can kind of look at it in that way, but Chelsea aren't going to play a team with Arsenal's quality every week. Like Chelsea dominated us for 75 minutes, but we had two moments in the whole game where Declan Rice's shot and Bukayo Saka's cross of just pure
quality.
Like A1 quality. And Chelsea, when they're 2-0 up against most other teams aren't going to have those two moments. And on this, we'll move on to Arsenal and the fight back and getting points when we don't deserve them for sure. At all. Because I think we robbed a point. We deserve to lose that game. 100%. We didn't even deserve a draw.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's big team spirit, big character. And on this Robert Sanchez mistake, Declan Rice.
Yeah, it's huge.
I
couldn't believe it actually when it went in, or when he took the shot. I was
the way he's bent it around Enzo, and then it's gone in the side netting.
Do you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of KDB with Tomiyasu last year, and I was so happy to be like, "Oh, we're the team."
Yeah, just capitalize.
Yeah, we're the team.
And after that, it was like, because like I said, the body language of the Arsenal players, the way they were moving, it just seemed like it kind of they I don't want to say given up, but they kind of like
they'd accepted that this was not a day.
Yeah, exactly that they. And then Declan Rice comes and does that, and then if that game goes on for another 10 minutes, Arsenal probably win the game.
100%.
Like, and that's where obviously last week we did the top 10 signings. A lot of guys had Declan Rice in first place, and this is obviously the sort of tangible difference that I'm looking at, man. Like, those small games, we have the facilities to dispatch teams, right? Shef U's, Burnley's, whoever it is, like we have the facility to do that. But in these big games, when it matters and we need to like get the points on the board, we spoke about him in the Man City game. He scored the winner in the Man United game. He scored in this game at Stamford Bridge to get us back in the game. He's turning up when it matters most.
It's huge, man. I like. And this was an area of the game that they had a lot of question marks over. Is he going to bring that? I didn't even necessarily need him to bring goals and assists to this team. It wasn't one of the things that I was going to judge him on come the end of the season. But I mean, you literally can't put a price or the feeling on it of we should get nothing out of a game and we get something. And Starman, or your most expensive player is the biggest catalyst for that change. And as I say, like Sanchez, for sure, bad pass, shouldn't happen. But like 8 out of 10 times, I swear to you, no one will punish them the way Declan Rice has punished them.
It's a miss hit, it goes over the bar,
goes over the
wide.
100% fans are laughing at him. And then what I liked even more was like there was no celebration. It's like, yo, come on lads, let's get back to this. Like 100%. This game isn't done. Do you remember when Giroud made it 2-2 at Bournemouth? He's celebrating.
Celebration ever,
It's like, that's done. Like, no,
it's like, let's go again.
Yeah, let's go again. Like, and obviously the goal in itself I think is amazing. But I think Declan Rice was probably our best player. Had a very good game. In
Especially
terms of
second half.
Exactly in terms of trying to make himself trying to make himself available for the ball, trying to do two people's jobs, trying to do the 6 and the 8 job, trying to protect Jorginho as much as possible from Conor Gallagher. Conditions weren't the best. I just can't fault his efforts and what he's also bringing quality, which is just like a happy marriage. You know, it's huge, man. And then as you say, Bukayo Saka. I think he deserves a shout out. He didn't have a good game.
Everyone was saying, how's he still on the pitch?
He did not have a good game. Barely got any change out of Cucurella.
Yeah, exactly. Cucurella kind of had him.
Barely got any change out of Cucurella. But he sees the ball he sees the ball and he plays it. And he has 10 goals and assists in 10 games.
Yeah.
It's GA, man. Like, it's crazy.
I've got it written here, man. Trossard scores big goals.
That's another
Community Shield, like where Everton away. This guy turns up and it's a great finish.
I think he has
over outside of the foot.
Do it, you know, which I think.
Oh my god!
Say it ain't so.
That was amazing from Gabriel.
Say it ain't so.
And Gabriel Martinelli has put Arsenal 1-0 up.
Champions League debut goal.
Yo, you missed
Script.
that. Oh, what is he? Yeah,
is he offside?
No, all good. You missed that from Gabriel Jesus. What Gabriel Jesus does here is incredible.
You know, I don't know if I sent you the tweet, but there was a lot of guys commenting about, you know, that Edward Hagen guy. He just posted a photo of Martinelli's like wrist with the
strap.
And I saw everybody like 13 minutes into the game when he scores, I will be there. You know,
this is all Gusto sees. But and I was telling a Chelsea fan, man, I think Gusto's better than Reece James.
Gusto played. You know, I wanted to say when you were just speaking about that, I think Gusto played well that game.
Yeah,
and
obviously fell asleep on the goal. Here, look, watch this from Gabby Jesus.
Sticks. Oh, I was just about to get rid of him. You can't.
I'm cold, so cold.
Oh, the
right
extra
on
touch
the
around
stroke
the
of half
keeper.
time.
The extra touch around the keeper.
Crazy.
And
the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan Stadium does not matter, man. Ice in the veins.
He was born here.
Half time, perfect. But yeah, anyway, back to the game. Obviously, Trossard scores big goals. No doubt, shout out him. Two people I want to talk about, and one of these guys actually deserves a bit more time. So we'll talk about the other one first. Kai Havertz.
Yeah,
had him number one on my list last week.
Hey,
Manchester City turns up, makes a difference. Chelsea away turns up and he makes the difference, man. And you look at, and obviously people might find that funny, but yo,
crashes the box. Huh?
They did this on MNF as well. Jamie Carragher was like, Havertz came on. They went Arsenal went 4-4-2, and Raya just started kicking it long in the last 20 minutes. And Havertz was just winning everything.
He's winning headers.
Knockdowns, passes to teammates. He's involved in the goal.
I'm happy for Havertz to build this way in the sense of like, you come on, you 20 minutes, you make good cameos, you build up your confidence. Because I know that obviously there's going to be games where he starts. And I just need him. I think one of the biggest things missing for Havertz is just confidence. Like, you can do all of the stuff that Arteta's asking you to do, man. I just need you when you get into these left 8 positions to be like, I'm gonna play the. Trossard gets in there and he's like,
just back yourself a bit more. Back yourself.
But I think he had a really good cameo, man. Thiago Silva wasn't expecting, and they all played with him, but like, I don't think they were expecting him to be that aggressive, jumping for every header, jumping for every ball. On the goal, he crashes the box, draws like 2 men in. I don't want to go over the top, but I think he's just quietly getting better.
Yeah,
just quietly getting better.
For anyone that like. And look, we're not going too far with the Havertz stuff, right? And he's played a good cameo, and he has really changed the game for Arsenal. There, even Carragher on Monday Night Football said it. So that's not Arsenal bias. But if you look at this Kai Havertz signing, and you want to understand, because people say, why did Mikel Arteta spend 65 million on Havertz? Look, you could have spent 65 million better elsewhere. Yeah. If you want to know why he spent it on Kai Havertz, literally just watch that 15 minutes where he came on. Because last year, when we couldn't break a team down, when we were struggling, we had no plan B. Yeah. It was always just I was try and feed it through, get it to Ødegaard, try and work through the lines.
I think
what other player, obviously Ivan Toney's being spoken about now, but you got to remember he's banned till January, so it would have made no sense to sign him in the summer. Yeah. What other player realistically could Arsenal gonna have signed that was going to provide that aerial threat and that like aerial duel winning impact?
I think it goes beyond that. I think it goes beyond the aerial threat and duel winning impact. I think the reason Arteta spent the money on Havertz is the versatility.
That's definitely a big part of it, though. Man.
It's 100% a big part.
Like, of it. If Havertz is 5'9", I don't think he makes the signing.
No, maybe so.
Because I think he recognized we need that option.
But I think honestly, it's the versatility. Arteta is so complex in his formations and instruction, how he sets out teams. And you've seen it already in the first 8 games of the season, where Havertz will start a game in left 8, move up to centre forward, be pushed out to a winger. Like, he has a guy who he trusts in 3 or 4 separate positions on the pitch, and you can't spend 65 million on 3 or 4 different players every time. You know, and I think that's why the height comes into it, because if Arteta needs a big man, number 9 type of guy, he could put Havertz in there.
Yeah.
If Arteta needs a sort of silky guy in the 8 position to create space, make decoy ones, open up stuff for Ødegaard, he could put Havertz in there. 100%. If Saka gets injured for a lengthy period of time and we need somebody to cover for him out wide, Havertz has done that before. Yeah. You know,
you need the false 9 shift.
I just think Arteta spend the money on him to be versatile. So I think it's going to be really tough to judge Havertz, because it's like he's not going to play in one position to get. And I think I was arguing with a coworker about this. He's not going to play in one position where you're like, oh, Havertz is playing here, therefore he should get me 8 and 5. Or he's playing as a number 9, he should get me 10 and 10 and 6.
He's not going to be a guy where at the end of the season you can look at his numbers and say he's played well or he hasn't played well.
Week by week, literally week by week, he's going to get given a different job to do, and you can kind of really only judge him. You can kind of really only judge him on
like
that.
A very specialized weapon.
And exactly, as tailored fit as it gets to whatever the manager's plan is. And then I agree, because he's 6'4", or however tall he is.
I genuinely think that's such a massive part of it.
It adds more.
It was obvious to tell from even us as fans that that's what we were lacking last year. When we played Man City at the Etihad, what Man City did was they just pumped it long to Haaland. You know, in that game that obviously we ended up losing. All they did,
Rob Holding didn't know what to do.
Exactly, was they just, because they thought, Arsenal going to press us. We were pressing really well last year. They just thought, let's go long and play off Erling Haaland. And I think Arteta kind of realized, like, we need that option. We need to be able to do that. And in the Man City game and this game, he's realized, put Havertz on there, and Havertz has made a difference in both games.
No, I agree.
And we come away from Man City at home, Chelsea away with 4 points.
Yeah, and I was going to say that as well, to like how Arsenal fans feel about this. Results or everything. I was like, if the results were vice versa, if we drew 2-2 versus Man City and won 1-0 at Chelsea or whatever,
you take it.
We'd be saying, I'll push on from here. Season, so it's like, football's funny like that.
If we'd beaten Man City and then lost this game 2-0,
it's crazy.
It would have just been a bit like,
what's going on?
Yeah, but to come away with the guy that I did mention, I think deserves maybe a bit, but probably won't end up getting as much time as Havertz, but Tomiyasu.
Yes.
Zinchenko's hooked at halftime.
Yeah. Yellow.
Again, like, not singling players out, because everyone from Arsenal was not good in that first half.
I also don't think Zinchenko's yellow was a yellow, but go on.
He was getting twisted by Sterling.
Yeah.
And it was just red waiting to happen. Another, like, Zinchenko getting caught out. He wasn't great in possession.
Yeah, he wasn't.
And the amount of times that I've seen Tomiyasu not only come on for Zinchenko, but start, go into midfield, invert. He was doing all of that, and he's so. I know a Chelsea fan who was at the game, Oman, who gave his list last week. He told me after the game, we had like a little debrief about the game and everything, and he was like, "Man, you don't realize how good Tomiyasu is." And I was like to him, "Yo, trust me, we realized."
Tomiyasu came on, won his first duel, and I felt safe. I was like, nothing's happening down that wing anymore. And I agree. I think what I love about Tomiyasu the most is, obviously, he's such a, like, you can use pause. You can use me any way you want. If you need me to invert, I'll invert. But I think so much that, like, as much as
technically good,
I think as much as he's inverting, he's not doing Zinchenko's job. He is the body. He's inverting, and
to even be able to do that, like, with his frame, his stature,
with everything.
But he's good off both feet.
He's good off both feet.
He's not playing the line breaking passes that Zinchenko's playing.
He's the blocker for any counter attacks, and he's comfortable because he's a central defender. So it's like he should have a better understanding of what to do if things do break out.
Exactly.
That's his inversion. But I think he deserves a lot of credit for coming on, putting in a solid 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And he just shows he's the first choice. If anybody goes down in the back four, he's the first choice, and he can do a job just as well as any of those guys.
I think he is so important to this team and what we're trying to do. When we spoke earlier briefly about us going to St. James's Park next weekend, Tomiyasu has to start that game.
Yeah, it's a huge game for him.
Do not play Zinchenko in that game.
It's too big.
Do not play Zinchenko in that game. You play Tomiyasu, and when you line up Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, that is like similar to the City 4 centre backs thing. The way they line up is solid.
One thing I wanted to quickly ask you about before we move on was Ødegaard and like some of the narratives that have been coming out. I just personally, I think Ødegaard had like his worst game.
I had this on my notes as well about Ødegaard. Yeah, I thought he was shocking.
I thought he had his worst.
Like, let's not sugarcoat it.
Nothing
awful.
Nothing stuck. No, his pass accuracy could honestly be 5 or 10%. I feel like no ball got to where he wanted to go. Nothing stuck. Even there was just like I remember 1 or 2 occasions where it's like we rarely ever worked the ball through the middle, and then we found Ødegaard in a pocket of space and he couldn't control it.
Yeah,
it slips away from him.
Or he played a bad pass.
Yeah, or he played the wrong. Like Jesus made a run, Martinelli's made a run, but he's played the wrong ball. Like instead of putting it outside him, he's put it inside him, or whatever it was. And I just thought, man, like, this is tough to watch.
No, go on.
But I was gonna ask, a lot of people are making so many bones about his big
Fuad coming
his big game. I couldn't even finish the episode, honestly. His big game criteria, or like, does he do it in big games? And what's your take on that? Are you worried? Did you give in to the agenda a little bit or at all or anything?
This is when I was hearing Fuad do that, and I've seen like, that Stephen Howson on Rio's thing. I've seen him do it. Harry Pinheiro's done it. Yeah, they're all kind of saying this thing about Ødegaard. And this was also part of the reason why I thought, we need a football podcast, because there's a lot of people talking a lot of shit out there. And like sometimes we just need to put the facts out there, right? Now, 100%, you've already heard me say Ødegaard was shocking on Saturday. I think since he became Arsenal captain, that's the worst performance I've ever seen him put in.
Yeah.
Right. And for Arsenal captain to play in the London derby away at Stamford Bridge, to play the way he did isn't right. But I'm criticizing him for this performance. I'm not going to go further than that.
I agree,
because I know who Martin Odegaard is. Yeah. Let's not forget, the guy scored 15 non-penalty goals last year. People want to question like his chance creation and stuff. He was one of the best in the league last year. I think he ended up picking up 7 assists. And
that's a crazy season.
Yeah, again, people want to talk about big games and stuff. And after his first season at Arsenal, when Arsenal had just signed him for 30 million, we said, as he slowly made his way into the team and became a regular, in that first season, we said, this guy is not influencing big games. And I said, I don't know if he has the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
But last year,
he showed it.
He 100% proved me wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
There's no way, and this is where Fuad, Stephen Howson, I hope somehow one of you guys sees this, because you man are just you're doing too much.
They're doing too much.
It's too reactionary. Last year, Man United at home, and people saying, did he score? Did he play well? He didn't score in that game. When Eddie scored the brace, he didn't score in that game. He was one of the best players on the pitch, right? Chelsea at home, he scores a brace. Liverpool away at Anfield, when we drew 2-2, he didn't score or assist, he played well.
Yeah. Tottenham, obviously.
Yeah, Old Trafford last year, got an assist. Tottenham scored. Bro, Fuad should know this, bro.
Scored at Newcastle away last year.
Yeah, Newcastle away, drilled, bottom corner. But any Tottenham fan saying it, you saw him do it in your own stadium. Any Man United fan saying it. What happened when we played you lot this year? Yeah. This season, less than 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Your captain didn't even see him on the pitch. Yeah. We would go 1-0 down, Ødegaard, bang, 1-1, straight back in the game. Now, 100%, he was poor yesterday. In games against Man City.
He scored against United at home this year, and guys are saying...
Exactly, and Man United fans are saying, when's he going to turn up in a big game? He literally scored against you lot. Like, this is what I don't get. Like, he played poor against Chelsea. No one's denying that. Yeah. We're saying that. We've criticised him for that. 2 games against Man City last year and the Man City game this year, I'll happily say he didn't really turn up. He worked hard in the Man City game at home, off the ball. On the ball, he didn't really do too much, right? But let's not act like he hasn't turned up in these big games. There were countless games like Liverpool at home last year.
Yeah.
He provides the assist in the first minute for Martinelli.
It's crazy.
Like, yeah, this reactionary thing is too much, because last year Ødegaard proved that he could be the difference in those big games, and he does. He is one guy that he doesn't have to score to say he played well in that game.
I think that's the blessing and the curse of being a 10. You know, Bruno has that crazy year. And it's like, even if you get...
guys are trying to compare him to Bruno. Bruno's big game record has been going on for 3-4 years now.
So that's what I was going to say.
He hasn't turned up.
That's my point is, my whole thing on the situation is, similar to you. It's just that we've had 3 big games this season, 2 of which he's played well in, you know, or one of which he's definitely played well in.
Obviously, the Chelsea game he didn't play well in. The Spurs game, he was off it, to be honest. And... the Man City game, like I said, out of possession, he ran as hard as he could. But Man United fans, you need to chill out, man, because you literally saw him crash.
I was just gonna say that I'm not going into big games. I'm actually going into big games, expecting Ødegaard to score or to turn up or to be on the score sheet. I'm not going into big games thinking I know he's gonna shy away from the ball.
And so far,
I know he's gonna not want it or whatever it is. Like I'm going into these games with the confidence of last year, knowing that, hey, look, Ødegaard could easily score and assist today, and he will
turn up, have a good performance.
Yeah, right. But I think a lot of this is also
Madison high, and them wanting to draw Bruno into the comparison. But you know what? So far this season, I've expected more from Ødegaard in those big games, and I agree. He hasn't delivered to the level that I would have liked him to, but it's way too reactionary, because last year he was all over those big games.
Also,
we go to St. James's in 2 weeks. If Ødegaard pops up, bangs a goal in, plays well, does whatever.
I was gonna say, man, with the like Ødegaard doesn't do anything anymore, he just shoots thing. Do you remember the first season when he wasn't taking shots and people were like, he's never gonna score enough goals to be a 10 for us at this club. We should get Buendia. We should, all of this kind of stuff. It's like, I understand we want goals and assists from Ødegaard. That's what we want. But I'm not gonna get onto him. He's not Bruno level. I'm just gonna shoot regardless of what's going on in the pitch. He's not Bruno level. But I also just think that he kind of, if you get 15 goals last year, you want to do that again. Yeah, you're going to add that to your game.
15 non-penalty goals and 7 assists in a Premier League season. You can't just switch on a guy like that.
Yeah, you can't just. It's great. That's all I have to say on it. Is like, I think a lot of it as well is just like, we have an opportunity to get jabs in, and
an agenda. And like I say, it's mainly coming from Tottenham and Man United fans. Man United fans who want to bring him down to the level of Bruno, and Tottenham fans who want to gas up Maddison. Yeah. That's literally it. That's all that's going on. But look, if we go to Newcastle, he doesn't do anything. We go to Anfield, he doesn't do anything. We can start having a conversation about how this season Martin Odegaard hasn't turned up in those big games. But last season he turned up in the majority of them. So
I agree.
It's just a bit too much. But yeah, that's enough on the Chelsea Arsenal.
That is enough.
Moving on to Shef U Man United, the Saturday evening game. Man United winning again, back-to-back wins for them.
Yeah.
And it was a better performance from Shef U.
It was. United didn't really convince me though.
Yeah, they needed a pen. And yeah, we'll talk about United because United struggled in that game, man. It was a struggle for them. McNine, another goal. Misprofiled. Ten Hag's got to keep him in the team for the Manchester derby.
Misprofiled.
I don't actually know how Man United, because they're playing today, innit? They're playing Copenhagen. In what Culture Cams was saying is a season-defining game. Because they can't go 0 for 3 in the Champions League, surely,
that's
right?
Impossible.
Oh, go on. Oh,
I think we're going to run route in the second half,
Ødegaard's just missed the chance. But yeah, man, it was a struggle. It was a struggle for them for sure. And we'll talk about the game. We'll talk about Man United. We might even talk a bit about the Manchester derby coming up. But quickly, Harry Maguire got man of the match.
That was crazy.
And big up to him, man. Suffered a lot of like
hate.
criticism, abuse, hate,
I do
scapegoating, and he comes up big and he won man of the match.
No, he played well. I do think though that they kind of gave him man of the match because of the criticism he's been getting.
The traditional sports media are doing too much, man. We understand that Harry Maguire's suffered the abuse and no player should, but now you're doing too much.
Yeah, because it's like. Yeah, I don't know if he was much better than everybody else on the pitch at the time.
Well, you see Dallow's
goal.
How's he not getting mad?
That's what I'm saying. He's putting the same amount of work. But on the game, I just think, man, like Dallow's goal, the individual quality, man, it's a great goal. It's a great finish.
Yeah. Keeper should save it.
I don't think United played that well, but they got 3 points, and they need to at this stage in their career.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters, man. Get the points on the board. They showed that they were the better team to Shef U, and I think Ten Hag can take this. Anthony was back, you know. I still like. I agree maybe a bit with Coach Cams about this game being a big
the Copenhagen
one, because it's like, if you lose today, if you don't get the win today,
or if you got 0-3 in the Champions League,
like it doesn't matter. Yeah, you can be getting the 3 points. It just shows that week by week you're gonna, put in a semi-decent performance, and then next week we're just going to be terrible. So there has to be some consistency, because you won't get top 4 unless you're consistent.
Well, look at what Newcastle are doing.
Yeah. You won't get top 4 unless you're consistent, unless you can, like, whether you win or lose, at least it's like, all right, he's the danger man. He likes to run in behind. He likes to do this. He likes to do that. Like, Rashford's coming off at the 60th minute. Garnacho's coming on, and it's like, all right, well, who's the guy? Whose team is this? I actually don't even think there's actually too much to say about this game. I think just congratulations, really. What a save.
We got the Man United game up here as well, and Arna's just made a good save.
Congratulations to United. 3 points.
Yeah, back-to-back wins.
Yeah. Push into the top half of the table.
McTominay 3 goals in 2 games.
Hey, McNine, man.
Yeah.
McPoacher.
Poach Tominay. But I think obviously they won that game. They beat Shef U as expected. It was way more of a struggle than it should have been.
Yeah.
But looking ahead to the Manchester derby this weekend,
that's big.
How at Old Trafford?
How
do you see that one going?
Well, last year you would have said comfortable win for City, innit?
Well, I mean, we said that last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You would have said comfortable win. I think it is one of those games where, irrespective of form, it's going to be like United are going to find a performance from somewhere. Højlund will get on the score sheet.
They should. Yeah.
Højlund will get on the score sheet. I can almost guarantee it.
Casemiro should be back.
Yeah. I think City will win, just because I think Haaland is going to get 2 and Foden is going to get 1, and then Alvarez hasn't even got his yet. But I say that going into every Man City game.
Yeah. So you're predicting a Man City mauling then?
I think so. I think these, like, I don't know, like it could honestly be a 4-2 type of game. I think it'll be close and cagey, and I think in the final 15 minutes, a team is going to run away with it. And I think that team will be Manchester City. I think Ten Hag, I think it will probably be Man United's best performance of the season. And that's the confidence they'll take from that. They'll move on to the rest of the season with, but I don't think they'll get any points out of it. That's honestly how I see it going.
I agree with you in that. Look, it's Manchester City are coming to Old Trafford. Like, Man United aren't going to play like they play against like any, like Brentford when they come, or Palace when they come. But they're going to step it up. The fans are going to be up for it. My only thing is that, given how Man United have been playing this year, in every game, I really haven't seen Man United put a good performance in yet.
Yeah.
And given what we know Man City can do, I'm looking at it and I'm like, could this be like a bad one?
Even for United?
Yeah, could it be? Because last year when they played them at Old Trafford, Man United were in good form. Do you remember that people were trying to put them in a title race before they came to the Emirates and stuff? But I don't know, man. Like, do you remember when Oli was there? And I know the Liverpool beat him 5-0 at Old Trafford, absolutely tore him apart. But Man City beat him 2-0, but it was just like...
It could have been 4, could have been 5. Man City
I think they might have had like 85% possession. They just honestly killed them. And I think it might be a similar sort of game. It might be like a 2-0, but Man City are just going to like absolutely starve them with the ball and just like show the levels.
The thing is, the reason I think it could be a route for City is because Oh my gosh!
My days, what a goal!
The
Gabriel
man who
Jesus
absolutely is staying in my team for this.
Yeah, he's ready, man.
A man who's
He's
absolutely
ready
staying in my
this.
team for this weekend. Yeah, on the Man City thing, and the Man United thing, who do you think like wins that battle for Man United? That's my big question, because I think it's like Gvardiol, Diaz, Stones,
That's what I'm saying,
Walker.
Akanji suspended for the derby. I will be shocked, and you know what, Pep can do whatever Pep wants, man, and there will be a shock in that lineup for sure. But I'm fairly confident it's going to be Walker, Diaz, Stones, Ake.
You think?
Yeah. I don't think Guardiola's going to play. I think it's going to be Walker. Away at Old Trafford, Pep's going to be like, yeah, you know what, you four.
Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. No sniffs.
Because who don't you trust in that back four?
So that's what I'm saying. Does you think Anthony gets the best of Ake?
But Walker, Rashford.
Oh, that's
Rashford.
Yeah.
Who's Man United's biggest threat.
But Rashford will score though. Because
Rashford could. If Rashford's on form, and this is why we always have the conversation, Rashford and Son. And last year I was up.
I'm up big time.
This year you're up. Yeah. But this is where Rashford is like, yo, brother, if you turn up,
the thing is,
you can cause Kyle Walker problems.
All sorts of problems.
You can be, and he was this in the game last year. He scored the winner. He gave them
you could be the guy.
Exactly.
You could be the
guy.
Exactly.
A lot of what Man United do in this game is going to depend on.
The thing about Rashford is, just when you count him out, just when you're like, yeah, he's proper shit. I was gonna say the thing about Marcus Rashford. Have a look at the thing about Marcus Rashford is just when you're like, he's done. He's shit, man. There's no player in there.
Yeah.
That's exactly when he bags, and he goes on off like a crazy run. He's like, he'll
chop Walker
and bury it. Net ripples.
But if anyone has Marcus Rashford in their FPL and you're pissed off with him because he blanked against Shef U, he blanked against Brentford, he's blanked for however many weeks.
Yeah, keep him.
If there's one game Marcus Rashford could turn up for,
keep him one more week.
That's my one piece of advice. If you have Rashford, I reckon keep him one more week.
And obviously he himself looks a Bobby. You saw
he was there for the first game back at Old Trafford.
Come on, man.
Come on, bury it.
I just think that he could be the one.
That Bruno to Rashford on the transition. That's how they got him last year.
Yeah. But I also do think that if City score first, the mentality of United will just like fall through the floor.
And you got to think, man.
Some killers in
Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Alvarez, Foden, Grealish.
Yeah, it's long. Doku. Doku won't play though, but he'll come on as a sub.
Yeah, Grealish will start. Grealish will start.
Doku 20 minutes as a sub, tired legs. Just man, it's a long day.
But in terms of their level of performance, Man United are gonna have to step it up big time.
Huge. It's the toughest game. It's easily the toughest game. It determines what color the city is.
Exactly.
All of that, man. All the history behind it.
Because the way they've been performing recently, City will tear them apart.
I actually quite like the United derby, recently or even this year, just because, like if United win, great. You're not title challengers.
Yeah.
If United get smacked,
I'm full-time Red Devils.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be there with you, Man United fans.
Once you're a devil.
Exactly. I'll be there with you, man. And I'm praying as much as you guys that Rashford turns up. Because I hope you guys do us a favor, man.
Yeah, I'd love nothing more, man.
Fucking hell. Sevilla have just scored from a corner.
Good thing Jesus put us 2-1 up. My God.
But yeah, we'll move on to Sunday game. There's only one Sunday game. Aston Villa versus West Ham was a good game. And Villa just kind of dominated West Ham from start to finish. They're up to 5th in the table now.
I thought they were like 2 points off top, no? Villa. They could be higher.
Yeah. I think after Tottenham's win yesterday, maybe it's changed a bit. But I think I saw Culture Cam's tweet. He was like, Villa Park is dangerous.
I was just about to say, like, I don't think too many teams are going to come away from Villa Park with 3 points. Like that is a really, really, really tough place to go this season as well. I think Villa are like kind of like us, or maybe kind of like us last season and like Tottenham, this season, in the sense that like Villa fans going into the season knew that they could have a really good season. And like other guys were like, he made a couple good signings. Unai's, he's kind of cooking, but no one expected it to look this good.
Yeah.
And like
for sure.
So they're turning up. I think Villa fans are turning up to every home game like expecting wins.
Yeah.
And they have such a carefree sort of mentality when they play.
And honestly, the way they play, whether it's Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, whoever it is going to Villa Park,
it's really dangerous.
It's tough.
And like, people who didn't get on the score sheet or do much today for like Diaby or whatever was like still a threat.
Influence,
like, the quality on some of the goals.
Yeah.
Watkins is what is he doing? Who is he?
Left foot, roof of the net.
Step over, bang.
crash, bang, wallop. Just hit it, roof of the net, no chance.
Like, even
killer for my FPL.
Bailey's goal,
the step over.
It's so
Ødegaard got sent.
It's so dirty. It's so filthy.
Apart from Tielemans.
Yeah.
Unai Emery's throwing Tielemans into the game. Like, just pop around, keep it simple, keep it tidy. Big up Unai Emery as well.
Big up Unai. And Villa are missing so many players, man. Villa are missing so many players. That it's kind of crazy that they're still progressing this far and they're still playing this level of football and they're still doing this well. And you're right. They were the better team than West Ham. All ends up yesterday, but
your guy Douglas Luiz.
Yeah, Douglas. I want him. I still want him. And he's not even just a brace. He's like 6-6 at Villa Park this season. Like, you can't. If guys who have Douglas Luiz in FPL, mind blown.
Yeah.
You can't time it, and you bring him in now, he won't score for 20 games.
Easy work.
Yeah.
Easy work. Yeah.
So I think he's really playing well. I think Villa are really playing with confidence, which helps. And as I say, like, I think Zaniolo put in a good performance, put in a good shift.
Played well.
Like, there's certain guys who it's like they're not the starter or the mainstay or whoever it is, and even guys who are starters and mainstays like Diaby who didn't get on the score sheet, but Villa still putting 4 past guys. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
John McGinn is still cooking in midfield.
Put 6 past Brighton.
Yeah.
And they just look like a very, very well drilled, efficient team, and that's props to Unai Emery.
Yeah, for real.
And
for real.
Look, I want to get your take on this as well, but I've mentioned this to you before. Unai Emery revisionism
is crazy.
Honestly, it's one of my pet peeves.
I think football revisionism is the worst.
Yeah, but the Unai Emery thing is I feel like it's just like, it just annoys me differently.
Yeah, we can't forget.
And look, Unai Emery is a top manager. Anyone
he's won top trophies.
Exactly. Anyone that knows me knows that when he was at Arsenal, I backed him to the hills.
Yeah.
And Unai Emery was not the reason that Arsenal were where they were when he was there. Yes. Right? Anyone taking that job after Arsene Wenger. Yeah. But anyone taking that job after Arsene Wenger, even if it had been Arteta, they would have struggled, right? Yeah. The team that Emery was dealing with, Socrates, Mustafi,
some of the signings, yeah, exactly.
Still took us to a European final, just missed out on top 4.
Aubameyang should have been there.
Yeah, there were good times, but when it was bad with Unai Emery, it was bad.
Watford 20 shots on target. From Watford getting 20 shots away.
There's no one can tell me
it was bad.
That Arsenal should have given Unai Emery longer. No one can tell me he was the right fit.
I think what killed Emery for us at the time was just there was an identity crisis and he didn't solve that. And I think that's the opposite to Villa.
Yeah.
He came in after Gerrard and they were having an identity crisis and Unai was like, this is how you should be playing football.
Yeah.
At this day and age, at this stage.
And he's easily one of the best managers in the league, man.
Easy.
You take away Pep and Klopp, and
he's only been there for 12 months.
Yeah, but when he took over last year, they were 16th.
Yeah, he's only been there for 12 months, and now we're talking about Villa top 4, top 5 teams.
Yeah, and he has a history of getting his strikers to pop.
Yeah, he does.
Laka,
he does.
Had his best season under Emery. Aubameyang won the Golden Boot, and now Watkins is doing it.
Massive.
Sevilla just hit the crossbar. Jesus.
Massive credit to Unai for whipping those boys into shape. But on West Ham as well, I'm so happy West Ham scored because everybody had Digne and Cash, and I was not ready for those.
How's Bowen been credited with that goal?
That's crazy. Yeah, it's nowhere near. As I say, there's little
it's just Premier League doing FPL wonders.
Yeah,
there's no way that should have been his goal. But yeah, for West Ham, it's just a case of dust themselves off.
I actually still think that as much as Villa were the better team, I think West Ham they showed enough quality in the game to be like, all right, I can see why on another team on another day, and for another team on another day this would work, and you'd get change out of this.
But move on to the Monday night game, last game of the weekend, Tottenham versus Fulham. Ange Postecoglou has set a new record for the best ever start to a Premier League season by a manager. In terms of Fulham, just quickly, just a lack of quality. Like, just never at one point did I think Fulham had any sort of facilities to score.
I actually only watched the final 15 minutes of the game.
It was just problem after problem, man. And at half time, Marco Silva's taking Andreas Pereira and Carlos Vinicius off the pitch, and he's bringing on Jimenez and Iwobi.
Like, game done.
What's going on?
Yeah,
man?
damage limitations.
There's no quality, but on Tottenham, they deserve their praise. Son and Madison linking up again.
They do
putting up big points. In my FPL, scoring goals. Obviously still unbeaten. I think Tottenham fans are starting to believe that maybe
it's a great ball from Bruno. I can't lie. Oh my gosh,
is that Garnacho?
Yeah,
poor, but yeah, Tottenham fans are starting to believe, man.
No, I think Tottenham fans should believe that this team should stay in the top four, should do well.
They're believing a bit more than that.
Yeah, but that's hype. That's hype. It's early season hype. They're
Palace on Friday night at Selhurst.
I do think that Tottenham fans should actually be really, really sort of happy and this was definitely a season where I thought you were going to finish 10th, and you've already got 24 points on the board. And I just think that Ange deserves a lot of respect. Son deserves a lot of respect for his comeback.
On Son, I think he like you say, he deserves a lot, because when Harry Kane left, myself included, for
he's done
the goals in this team.
Yeah,
and obviously Maddison's played a part, but Son has gone into that number 9 position, and he's really stepped up.
1-0 Son.
Yeah,
as always.
And that finish, man. As soon as Son's in, he makes Ream run into Calvin Bassey.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Goes part, and then when he's in that position, it's not like he just rolled it part. He's just bang,
top bins.
Yeah.
You're never getting
dip, bit of curve.
You'll never get in there.
Yeah,
and he could do that off either foot.
Yeah,
that's the real scary thing about Son. He's a real good player, man. I've got to admit. And I think for Tottenham, man, they still got Brendan Johnson to come back into the team. Basuma, did he miss this game?
Yeah, and Højbjerg played well.
Yeah. I think Tottenham fans should really be happy and try and take this confidence as far as it can stretch, because I honestly do think it will run out at some point, and there's going to be a big injury. And it looks like Maddison and Son are already playing through niggles and this kind of stuff.
I look at Tottenham, and fair enough if they keep this up for the whole season, but mate, the energy, oh my God, man.
Am I really looking at
Rice
this right?
has just gone past 4 players on the dribble.
Saka has to rip this.
But yeah, as I'm saying, fair play if Tottenham do this for the whole season, but the energy they put into their performances, the press,
but that's
the way the players all rotate,
and that's what systems can give you to make it a full circle conversation. If a manager finds a system and the players believe in that system, that is what you can get out of teams. It's not like one person. A lot of Chelsea's teams, people won trophies, but it was centered around how do we get Eden Hazard to score, facilitate X, Y, and Z. It's now if you create a system for each individual to have a good role and a good job and to know their thing, you can create this super. You can get the best out of the some parts of the team, rather than I can get the best out of this one individual and see how far this one individual can carry me.
Yeah. And I know they're only playing one game a week, so they might have the stamina and the fitness and whatnot. But I do worry come Christmas time.
How does that look?
When those tough away games come and you're playing every 3 days, is that energy going to be there? Is that press going to be the same? But you know what? We can only judge them off what we've seen so far. And fair play, man. They're still unbeaten, 9 games into the season. Like we said, Ange Postecoglou, the best start ever for a manager. And yeah, they're like I say, man, losing Harry Kane and doing what they're doing, fair play.
It's fair play. Fair play. I mean, I wonder what Harry thinks. He never thought
Bayern are third in the Bundesliga.
He never thought 9 weeks later Tottenham would still be top of the table.
I saw a tweet that was like Postecoglou had a nasty plan for Harry Kane.
I saw that as well. And what do you think Daniel Levy's thinking? Great business. 100 mil, 120 mil, whatever it was.
And we got better.
Yeah.
I've been telling man about Harry Kane for the longest time.
No, it's good. But we'll see. As you say, Sellers Park, Friday night. Hopefully Eze, somebody's back. Edouard, surely there's a script.
Yeah, Mateta.
Yeah.
Ayew wins a pen. The ball's there. He gets there first.
Romero.
Yeah, whoever it is coming, closing in. But yeah, they've beaten the teams that they've been put in front of them, and that's all you. All
you can actually do.
So fair play to them, man. For real. But yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about? That's all the Premier League fixtures.
We'll see you guys next week, man.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you to all the guys who inputted last week in the top 10.
Big ups.
We had a good episode. I think everyone that gave their list enjoyed that.
United's good.
And you know what? But I will say that I can kind of see the vision.
Yeah, with Cole.
And maybe at the end of the season we'll look back and we'll be like, yo, you know what? Fair play, but play.
Just on that, we talked about this briefly earlier. I think Cole could be a very good player. Yeah, Harry Maguire could be a very good player, but if Nkunku comes back, how does it all work? It's not that he's going to immediately drop to the bench. It's just like, how does it all work?
Yeah.
But for now, he ain't justified. He's a justified fourth guy.
Yeah. And we laughed hard last week.
We did.
And it's probably karma that he ended up scoring.
Yeah, that was guaranteed.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week.